the whale that sank a ship. Most animal attacks happen in forests, rivers, farms, or oceans close to shore. But in 1820, one of the strangest attacks in history happened far out in the Pacific, when a sperm whale rammed and sank the American whale ship Essex. The ship had sailed from Nantucket and was hunting whales when the encounter turned against the crew. On November 20, 1820, a large sperm whale struck the vessel with enough force to damage it severely. Then, according to surviving accounts, it came back and hit the ship again. The Essex began to sink, leaving the crew stranded thousands of miles from land in small whaleboats. The disaster later became one of the inspirations for Moby Dick. The attack is unusual because it reverses the expected story. Whalers were the hunters. The whale was supposed to be the target. But in this case, the animal became the force that destroyed the ship. Whether the whale acted defensively, aggressively, or in response to the chaos of the hunt, the result was unforgettable. A giant ocean animal sent a human vessel to the bottom of the sea. The Essex attack feels almost mythical, but it was real. It showed that even in an age when humans believed they could dominate the ocean, one wounded or enraged animal could still turn the entire hunt into a survival nightmare. The Tsavo Man-Eaters. In 1898, workers building the Uganda Railway in Kenya faced an enemy they could not treat like ordinary wildlife. Two male lions began attacking camps near the Tsavo River, dragging people from tents at night, and spreading panic through the construction site. These lions became known as the Tsavo Man-Eaters. The attacks were unusual because of their persistence and setting. This was not one isolated encounter between a predator and a human. The lions returned again and again, striking workers in a place that was supposed to be organized, guarded, and controlled. Crews built barriers, lit fires, and tried to protect the camps, but the lions continued to break through fear and defenses. They were eventually killed by Lieutenant Colonel John Henry Patterson in December 1898. For years, stories claimed the lions killed more than 100 people, though modern research suggests the number may have been lower, possibly around 28 to 31 confirmed victims. Even with that correction, the case remains one of the most infamous predator attacks in history. The Tsavo attacks are disturbing because the lions seem to adapt to human routines. They turned a railway camp into hunting ground. The night became terrifying not because the wilderness was far away, but because it had entered the workers' tents. The Champawat Tigress. The Champawat Tigress became one of the most notorious man-eating animals ever recorded. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, this Bengal tigress was blamed for hundreds of deaths in Nepal and northern India. The commonly cited number is 436 victims, a figure associated with Guinness record accounts and the history of Jim Corbett, the hunter who eventually killed her in 1907. Her story is unusual because it was not a single attack, or even a short series of attacks. It became a long period of fear across villages and forested terrain. People altered their routines. Movement became dangerous. A path, a field, or a stretch of forest could suddenly become deadly. One explanation often given for her behavior is injury. Like many big cats that turn to humans, she may have been unable to hunt normal prey effectively. Once a predator discovers that humans are easier targets than wild animals, the pattern can become catastrophic. The Champawat Tigress became legendary because she turned an entire region into a landscape of fear. Her attacks were not strange because tigers are harmless. They are strange because of the scale, duration, and psychological power of one predator over human life. The shark attacks that changed public fear. In July 1916, a series of shark attacks along the New Jersey coast changed the way many Americans thought about the ocean. Between July 1 and July 12, 5 people were attacked and 4 died. The attacks occurred during a hot summer when many people had gone to seaside resorts to escape the heat. The strange part was not only that sharks attacked, it was where and when they struck. Some attacks happened near beaches, but others occurred in Matawan Creek, a tidal creek miles from the open ocean. That detail made the panic worse. The danger no longer seemed limited to deep water. It appeared to have moved inland. At the time, public understanding of shark behavior was limited, and newspapers turned the attacks into a national sensation. Shark hunts followed, and the image of the shark as a man-eater grew stronger in popular imagination. The exact species involved has been debated, with great white and bull sharks often discussed as possibilities. The 1916 attacks are unusual because they became more than a local tragedy. They helped create a cultural fear. Long before Jaws, these attacks taught the public to imagine the water as a place where something unseen might be moving beneath them. Travis the chimpanzee. On February 16, 2009, in Stamford, Connecticut, a pet chimpanzee named Travis attacked Charla Nash, a friend of his owner. Travis had been raised around humans and had appeared in advertisements and television appearances. To many people, that made him seem almost domesticated. The attack proved how dangerous that illusion could be. According to the Connecticut State Attorney's statement, Travis attacked Nash when she arrived at the property. His owner tried to stop him, even hitting him with a shovel and stabbing him with a knife. Police arrived shortly after, and when Travis approached an occupied police vehicle, an officer shot him. This attack is unusual because it did not involve a wild animal in the wilderness. It involved a powerful primate kept in a human environment. Chimpanzees are intelligent, emotional, and strong, but they are not pets in the ordinary sense. When something goes wrong, human familiarity does not remove animal power. The Travis case became internationally known because it shattered the fantasy that a wild animal can be made safe through affection, training, or years of closeness. The danger was not that Travis was a monster. The danger was that people forgot he was still a chimpanzee. Tilikum and the SeaWorld attack. On February 24, 2010, SeaWorld trainer Dawn Brancheau was killed by Tilikum, a captive orca at SeaWorld Orlando. Brancheau was an experienced trainer, and Tilikum was one of the park's most famous animals. The incident happened in a controlled environment, in front of people who believed they were watching a trained relationship between human and animal. That is what made the attack so shocking. This was not the open ocean, it was a performance facility. The water, the platforms, the routines, and the audience all suggested control. But an orca is one of the most powerful predators on Earth, and captivity did not change that physical reality. Tilikum had been connected to earlier deaths as well, which made the 2010 attack part of a much larger debate about marine mammals in captivity. After the documentary Blackfish, public attention focused heavily on the ethics of keeping orcas in confined environments and using them in shows. Tilikum died in 2017. The SeaWorld attack is unusual because it happened inside a system built around spectacle and trust. It showed that training can shape behavior, but it cannot erase instinct, stress, power, or risk. The Cassowary attack in Florida. Cassowaries look almost prehistoric. They are large, flightless birds with powerful legs, a helmet-like casque on the head, and sharp claws that can cause serious injury. In 2019, a 75-year-old man in Florida was killed after being attacked by a cassowary he kept on his property. The Library of Congress notes that cassowary attacks have occasionally been deadly, including the 2019 Florida case. The attack was unusual because many people do not think of birds as dangerous in the same way as lions, bears, or sharks. But cassowaries are not ordinary birds. They can kick with force, and their claws can slash deeply. Reports on cassowary behavior note that attacks often involve feeding, defense, or situations where the bird feels threatened. A cassowary does not need teeth or venom to be deadly. Its danger comes from speed, power, and close-range impact. The Florida case became a reminder that exotic animals kept on private property can carry risks that owners may underestimate. The strange part is the mismatch between expectation and reality. A bird sounds harmless to many people. A cassowary is anything but. Mary the elephant. In September 1916, a circus elephant named Mary killed a handler named Walter Red Eldridge in Kingsport, Tennessee. Eldridge was reportedly new to handling elephants, and the incident quickly became a public spectacle. Mary was later taken to Irwin, Tennessee, where she was hanged from a railcar-mounted crane before a crowd. The attack itself was tragic, but the aftermath is what makes the story so unusual and disturbing. Instead of being handled as an animal management failure, Mary was treated almost like a criminal. The public execution turned a circus elephant into the center of a strange ritual of punishment. Mary's story reveals more about humans than elephants. Circus animals were often forced into stressful, unnatural lives, trained under harsh conditions, and moved from place to place for entertainment. When violence happened, the animal was blamed, while the system around it remained largely unquestioned. This case is unusual because the attack did not end with the death of one man. It ended with a crowd watching an elephant be executed. It is a grim example of how human fear, anger, and spectacle can turn an animal incident into something even darker. The Sankebetsu brown bear incident. In December 1915, a brown bear attacked a remote settlement in Hokkaido, Japan, in what is often described as the worst bear attack in Japanese history. Over several days, the bear entered homes and attacked villagers, killing 7 people and injuring others before it was finally shot. The incident was unusual because of its repeated nature. A bear attack is terrifying enough when it happens once. In Sankebetsu, the danger returned. The villagers were not facing an animal that vanished back into the forest after one encounter. They were facing a predator that came back to human dwellings. Snow, isolation, and limited defenses made the situation worse. The settlement was remote, communication was difficult, and the bear's size and persistence turned the landscape into a trap. Homes, normally symbols of safety, became vulnerable. The Sankebetsu incident feels like a survival story from the edge of human settlement. It shows what can happen when people live close to powerful wildlife in a harsh environment, especially when fear, weather, and isolation all arrive together. The Dingo and Azaria Chamberlain. On August 17, 1980, 9-week-old Azaria Chamberlain disappeared from a tent near Uluru in Australia. Her mother, Lindy Chamberlain, said a dingo had taken the baby. Many people did not believe her. The case became one of Australia's most famous legal and media controversies. The attack itself was tragic, but the public reaction made it even more unusual. Instead of accepting that a wild animal could take an infant from a campsite, suspicion turned toward the parents. Lindy Chamberlain was convicted of murder in 1982, then later released after new evidence emerged. In 2012, a coroner officially ruled that Azaria was taken by a dingo. This case is disturbing because the animal attack became tangled with disbelief, media judgment, and courtroom error. The dingo was dangerous, but so was the certainty of people who assumed the story sounded impossible. Azaria's death shows how unusual animal attacks can challenge what society is willing to believe. Sometimes the rarest events are dismissed not because they are false, but because they are too strange for people to accept. Thank you for watching. To support the creation of more videos like this, please like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment suggesting a topic for our next video. Thanks again, and goodbye.